The April 14th, 2022 Wasilla City Council special meeting is called to order. The time is 5:30 p.m. Before we begin, council, please put away cell phones. If you've got personal business to attend to during the meeting, please move for a recess. If you're participating telephonically, please mute your phone unless speaking. Also, when speaking, please state your name for those streaming the meeting. As a reminder to all attendees, the meeting is being streamed live. The camera is located directly in the back of the council chambers, right above the clock. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Sullivan Leonard.
Here.
Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Velock.
Here.
And Councilmember Rubio.
Here.
Madam Mayor, do have a quorum. All council members are with us in council chambers.
Okay, thank you. Please stand for the pledge, and Nikki, if you'd lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item of business is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda will stand as presented. The next up is, we are now at persons to be heard. Do we have a sign up?
Let me get it. Sorry.
Okay. Michelle Jacobson. Before you begin your testimony, please state your first and last name, and your comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Michelle Jacobson. Can I sit down?
Yes. Have a seat.
Mrs. Mayor, hello. Members of the City Council, hello. I'm here today to bring up a concern I have with the city's codes. In the city of Wasilla, I am under the impression that you do not need a conditional use permit to open a sober living facility. But for the Matanuska-Susitna Borough, you do. I am asking if we can please get that same code policy requiring a permit to be placed into our city. I live in the city limits, and as I understand, all of you, in order to hold a position in the council, do as well. Currently, there is no code protecting you from your neighbor opening a residential sober living facility next to your home. Every homeowner in the city limits is vulnerable to being the next person in my current situation. Over 24 months ago, I became aware that a building on my street, about 1,000 feet away from my home, that I share with my husband and 4 children under the age of 10, was being converted into the Ethos House. The Ethos House defines themselves as a residential, safe, and sober living home. I know what you might be thinking. It's 2022, and we need safe and sober living homes. And I couldn't agree more. But important decisions, like where they are located and who they accept, should be given some thought by our government. What sets this sober living home apart is the residents that live there. It isn't the convicted murderers or thieves that is the issue at hand with me today. It's that there are not just 1 or 2 convicted sex offenders living there. It isn't even that there are 4 or 5, but there are 7 currently. Men varying from different communities around our state, charged and convicted of felonies of sexual abuse and assault to minors, live there. My street is the most concentrated area of sex offenders from Sutton to Willow. Currently, there are no other safe and sober living homes in or near the valley that will accept convicted child sex offenders into their residential programs. If this is an issue the city would like to address, since there is nowhere else in the valley that will accept these men, maybe there can be a discussion on making a place for these men to go to try to rehabilitate when they leave prison. I can't imagine, though, that a street with 16 children living on it is the correct place for them. What brings me here this evening is that this week, I was told that the city would not be doing anything about my concern. So tonight, I please ask you to please consider requiring a conditional use permit for facilities within the city limits housing convicted child sex offenders.
Does anybody have any questions?
Madam Mayor. So, thank you, Michelle, for being here. You mentioned that you were told that the city doesn't intend to do anything about this. May I ask by which department?
Yes, of course. Charlie from Code Compliance, he's new to the position. He reached out earlier this week after I had wrote the mayor a letter and let me know that there would be nothing done, which confused me a little bit because in the summer of 2021, I was told by the city that they would have an attorney rewrite the code, and I was given a timeline of 6 months. So earlier this week, I was just a little confused why that hasn't, what changed is what I'm confused about.
Okay, so, make sure I understand this. Code Compliance told you that there was nothing he could do because the code doesn't allow it. Code Compliance doesn't actually draw up the code. It's these folks here that do that.
Correct. So I did ask him if he had everyone from the top down. I asked him if this was the mayor's final word. I asked him if this was the planning department's final word, and he stated it was.
Thank you, Michelle.
Any other questions? Thank you. We are now at new business. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the first and only item of business this evening.
Thank you. That's AM number 2207, contract award to Alaska Roteq, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, Corporation, in the amount of $335,075 for the purchase of a booster pumping system for water utility service in support of the forthcoming Richmond Hills Booster Station project.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to approve AM number 22-07?
Madam Mayor, I move AM 2207.
Is there a second?
Second by Councilman Johnson.
Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is approved. We are now at audience comments. Is there anyone present who would like to address the City Council at this time? Then we are on to Mayor, Clerk, and Council comments. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just that when we adjourn, the council will reconvene at 6 o'clock for another special meeting. So it's for the benefit of those streaming. So we'll end the stream and then restart the stream at 6.
Councilmember Graham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank Michelle for coming forward today and for bringing your son. It's important that we all understand a little bit how government works. I was kind of surprised to hear that the city, which includes me, since I sit here, decided to do nothing about this, and it was from planning was included. I mean, I go to the planning commission meetings. I think I've made probably 90% of them over the last 5 or 6 years, and I don't recall ever seeing this on the agenda. But I certainly think it's something that needs to be brought up and needs to be looked at, and I highly encourage you to be the squeaky wheel. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Brown.
No comments, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Sullivan Leonard.
No comments, thank you.
Councilmember Velock.
No comments.
Councilmember Johnson.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
What would be the appropriate action at this point based on this complaint? Would this be an item that should be brought up for discussion and put on the agenda for the planning commission?
It would have to go to planning, because you're doing Jamie, help me out here. You're doing you'll have to do a code change. And with doing that code change, keep in mind that with all of the new laws that they've got, is you cannot discriminate where people live no matter what.
That is correct, Madam Mayor. The thing that we do have control on in the city is occupancy. And when I hear a number of 7, okay, that is something that we as a city can control. And I think our Madam Attorney should bring that up, but I think at least it would warrant a discussion in the Planning Commission.
I would strongly suggest that it go to the attorney
Yes.
before we start amending code and.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we have to follow procedure. I just am asking what would be the procedure so that we don't just bury an issue, that's all.
Well, it will go to the attorney,
Okay, thank you.
and then she'll follow up,
Thank you.
okay? And I have no comments, so the meeting is adjourned at 5.
Councilmember,
2 people in it.
Oh, never mind.
No comment.
It's gonna be one of them nights.
You're going to ask Madam Attorney then for the opinion?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, with no further business at hand, I'm adjourning the meeting at 5:42. That's all we can.